Hey there, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review, the final review of the Mission Impossible films. This time it is Road Nation, aka Mission Impossible 5. And at first was not too curious about this film back in the day because I did not like Ghost Protocol. I didn't see the love and the praise that film got. But this one, surprising. I thought this went at a much faster pace than Ghost Protocol. I thought it had more interesting plot than Ghost Protocol. In fact, this is, to me, a better version of Spectre, the James Bond film Spectre. Now, Spectre, for the James Bond movies, the Daniel Craig films, I reviewed all the James Bond films for those interested. There's a playlist I have on my channel where I review all the James Bond films, and I enjoyed quite a bit of them. And of the Daniel Craig, really enjoyed Casino Royale and Skyfall. I liked Quantum of Solace despite its problems with some of the editing. Spectre, I would say, is my least favorite. There's elements of it I like. I was kind of iffy on it. This one, it also has, and yeah, I know Spectre, they dealt with that before in other James Bond films, I know. But that was like the big centerpiece for that film. And I thought this had that kind of plot done more efficiently. Better paced. Not as much of a slow slog to sit through. And I say that because this also deals with a criminal organization, only this is called the Syndicate instead of Spectre. The cast do a great job. You have Tom Cruise coming back, of course, as Ethan Hunt. You have Simon Pegg coming back as the tech guy named Benji. Ving Rhames is in the film. Jeremy Renner comes back from the previous film, Ghost Protocol. Alec Baldwin joins the cast as a CIA guy. Sean Harris plays the villain. It's directed by Christopher McQuarrie, who I believe is directing the new one, Fallout. Could be wrong on that. First off, the stunt work and the action sequences are fantastic in this. I mean, the opening scene where this nerve toxin on this plane and they're trying to they can't stop this airplane, so Tom Cruise goes, hey, open the door, and he holds on to this, and he did this for real. Granted, there's some cables that they edited out so that he's somewhat safe, but still, you're hanging on to this thing as it takes off from the ground, and you can see on YouTube, he's doing it for real, and it's a pretty insane stunt. And it's a hell of a way to open up the movie. One thing I will say about the scene, I wish they didn't have the filters, like color filters that they do in a lot of movies. That's one thing about modern cinema I'm getting fucking tired of, is the filters that they add in. I know someone explained it to me on why they do that, but still, they need to find a better way and just not do that shit. Because when I see it on YouTube, the behind the scenes, and they show the shot, I thought it looked better with the natural color. It looked more real. I mean, it was real, but it looked better in that shot than it does in the movie. Like the color filter they put on there made the scene look a little bit more fake compared to seeing the behind the scenes featurette on YouTube. So that's one thing. Just stop with the fucking color filters. Despite that, it's still a damn good, impressive stunt by Tom Cruise. I give credit to the guy. Also, you have this car chase scene in, I believe it was Morocco, where they're chasing after this girl, and there's bad guys on a motorcycle chasing her. Tom Cruise and Simon Pegg are in a car, and they're in this narrow road, and there's a bit where he turns the car 360 and takes out two guys on motorcycles, and he has to drive backwards, and nice jump going backwards. And then after that, Tom Cruise gets on a motorcycle, and is riding very low to the ground, kicks a guy off a motorcycle, makes a guy hit a car who's in front of him. I thought that was a really damn good action sequence. And like I said, I thought the story was interesting to the point I like the idea of an evil criminal organization, the sort of the evil version of IMF. And Sean Harris, he didn't have a lot as the villain to do to cut his teeth into. I still think the best villain in the Mission Impossible films would be Philip Seymour Hoffman, because he has certain... He's not in the film a whole lot, but when he's there, it really has some intensity to his performance, which a lot of the other villains lack, sadly. Let's see. There's some nice surprises. When I first saw this, I thought I was surprised that from the get-go he was fucked with by the bad guys, where the typical thing, you get the item, should you choose to accept this? And it's from this record, old school record. I thought was pretty cool. And then you realize that the person talking to him is the shadow organization. I thought that was a kind of a nice little surprise. Even watch it again after having not seen it for a while. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot about that. That's a nice little twist to start off that early. And he's ready to get tortured. He has to escape. And he's helped by this woman played by Rebecca Ferguson, who is this female agent who you find out was undercover with the Syndicate. Helps Tom Cruise out. And she holds her own. She did a good job in the role. It's supposed to make you think which side she's on. She did a good job. Nice to see Simon Pegg back in the role. He, I would say, of the films, is probably the one he has the most to do. Perhaps the one he has the most screen time, film-wise, in this franchise. And that was nice to see. Whether it be him playing, I believe it was a Halo game on his computer, then he has to shut off before they come in. Whether it be talk to in a lie detector test with Alec Baldwin overlooking him, or helping Tom Cruise out in this Vienna opera house where Tom Cruise has to fight this assassin. I thought it was a nice, fun sequence where the platforms keep raising and the both of them have this back and forth fight, and the guy's like super tall compared to Tom Cruise, and get a little bit of a knife fight. And that is one thing about these movies. They never trust Tom Cruise's character, and you're thinking, well, fuck, what the hell does this guy need to do to get your trust? Government shit. Like, how many fucking things does this guy need to do? Where it's like, you know what? Maybe you should take a leap of faith with this guy, considering all the stuff that's happened in the past. But hey, that is to make the story at least a little bit more interesting than if they 100% thought he was A-okay. And you have the sequence, like a lot of these movies, where they have to break into something. In this one, it's Tom Cruise has to dive into this water tunnel for this underwater server hub, which I like the design, I like the look of it, I like the underwater aspect to it, in order to switch these two key cards so that Simon Pegg can get into this room and get this file that the bad guys want. I thought that was a fun sequence. Again, I like the little change of pace of having it be underwater. Made it a little bit different. Tom Cruise, I like him as an actor, and I think he's very efficient as an action star in these type of movies. Like I said, the female, Rebecca Ferguson, she did fine for what she had to do. Ving Rhames, nice to see him in this. Other than the third one, he doesn't have too much to do in these movies, which is too bad. Like Jeremy Renner, I like him as an actor, but like the last one, he really has not much shit to do. He's pretty much there in meetings, talking with Alec Baldwin. He's in a little bit of a car chase with Ving Rhames by his side, and they're just following Tom Cruise and Simon Pegg, and they hit one guy who's ready to shoot Tom Cruise. But he's, for an actor who I think he's a really good actor who unfortunately has not been the best utilized in Hollywood. He could do a lot more things. And with this franchise, maybe that's why he's not in, I don't know if he's in Fallout. Maybe he is, and he'll have like a small role. But it's too bad he doesn't have a bigger role in these movies. I don't really get why. But yeah, I think he's been underused in these movies. So that's one point I got put against this. And the villain, pretty one-dimensional by Sean Harris. It's another point I'll take against it. Although Ghost Protocol had that both those points too, it was just a very fucking boring, badly paced slog. And even the action scenes didn't do much for me. Here, at least the stunt and action scenes were entertaining. The sequence where he has to get out of his torture room and Rebecca Ferguson helps him out and they're both fighting these bad guys off. Thought that was a fun scene as well. I keep mentioning the word fun because I had a lot of fun. Compared to Ghost Protocol, this was a fun change of pace. Move at a very fast pace. And the finale was entertaining. They kidnap Simon Pegg, they have him with this bomb on, and Rebecca Ferguson is there, and Tom Cruise bluffs his way against the bad guy, uses it against him, and lets Simon Pegg go, and him and the girl shoot a couple bad guys, get into a foot chase. I like the idea of how the bad guy's taken out by outsmarting the bad guy. I thought that was pretty cool. Pretty much they lead him into this trap, and they have this bulletproof glass to trap him. I thought that was pretty neat. This might be the shortest review I'll do for these. It's very straightforward. That's one thing I like about this. It's a very straightforward flick. It's a very fast-paced flick. Might be my favorite of the franchise for a number of those reasons. I'm still partial to the first one. But if I had to pick between the two, I'd probably say this is my favorite. Then maybe the first one and then the third one. Oh, the third one has some really good stuff too. I'm not sure which. I would say of those three, this is my favorite of the bunch. Good cast, great stunt work, fun action sequences, interesting enough story to keep me intrigued throughout the story of the flick, throughout the running time of the flick. And just a lot of fun to watch. Fun movie to watch. But those are my thoughts on Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Thanks for watching. Take care. And we will see you later. Bye-bye.